listening to the Geek 2.0 podcast, and on this episode, we'll dive in depth into keeping in contact or communication with your family during this holiday season. So, Joe.
Uh-oh.
We're going to go to the past.
Woohoo! Oh, wait.
And jumping in that DeLorean.
Okay, so I get to bring all my knowledge to the past.
Yes.
Okay.
Go and get your Automatic, sports Automatic, and mess up the future somehow.
I'm going to invest in eBay like I should have did when I had the chance.
Yep, you got Microsoft, Apple, and all that. Billionaires.
I'll tell you.
So we're going to go to the past to the 90s.
Oh, man.
I'm not going to break it down to mid, early, whatever. We're going to go to the 90s.
Getting old here.
But let's actually go back further to the 80s.
Oh, my God.
Now, how would you, let's say with Thanksgiving coming up and the Christmas holidays season, yeah. How would you go about getting in contact with your friends and family back in the Stone Age?
The Stone Age that was the 80s. Oh, man. I don't know. I think back then we used to walk uphill both ways in the snow.
Fight off the dinosaurs. And
well, I mean, back then it was really, you had to either call their home phone and hope that someone was there to answer, or...
Yeah, because I think it's still... We had answer machines, but that was still expensive for a lot of people.
You had the one home line that...
You got the coiled to the base station, so you can't go more than 5 feet away from it.
Unless you got the extended cord.
Yeah, but then you're dragging it through the house and then upstairs, downstairs, whatever.
It was either that or take the risk, jump in the car and drive and hope that someone's home.
Yeah, you say, okay, you mail them a letter in a snail mail. Because this is what you do. You write...
Physically.
On dead trees, pressed into a sheet... a letter, then you send it up, and a week or two later, the other person will get it, read it, and say, oh, they're coming over. Oh, look, they're here. It's one of those things that back in the Stone Age, I don't know how we survived.
It was commonplace. You didn't know better, so that was what you knew, and there was no exception to that. There was no, oh man, why aren't we doing it this way? Because there was no this way to compare it to.
There was no the strange and future tech coming up, and we're getting flying cars, but that hasn't even fruitioned yet.
Because it's the same thing. Everything we have currently, we're going to look back on in 20, 30 years and go, oh my God, how did we even survive?
Our grandkids be like, how did you text it or you typed on black slabs of glass?
Your phone was that big?
My goodness. How'd you carry it around, Grandpa?
That's so heavy.
But yeah, it's like back in the 80s when we were growing up, is you go out and to your family's house and hope they're there because, it's Thanksgiving. They're going to be there, or they're going to be at your place, or you say, hey, on Thanksgiving you come over, and everybody comes traveling their hundreds of miles. I was
going to say, it would be planned beforehand.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the spontaneous notion.
No, this is weeks of writing out and reaching out to your loved ones and your family members, and depending on the distance of travel you got down the road or across the U.S. Yeah.
Say, hey, we're going over to the Smo's house.
It was my great grandmother's house was everyone went to for the holidays. Yeah.
And it was just one of those things that it was a given that everyone did. Mm-hmm. Now, let's move up a couple years to the invention of the cell phone.
Yeah, I was going to say, you had the beeper first, but...
Well, we're going to skip the beeper.
Yeah, that doesn't really help in this situation.
It's like doctors. I mean, what are you going to do? You go to a payphone? Yes, there is a phone that you go to on the side of the street or a building outside. Put in your number, call, say, hey, what's up, or whatever.
Well, I mean, and there was also the pager messages that you could send, not actual text messages.
Decrypting,
yeah, basically it was like codes. Yeah, you would send the numbers, which would correspond to the letters on the dial pad, and it would write out to words. You just had to decipher it.
Yeah, you do it like World War II code breaking.
Yeah, exactly. It was actually kind of fun. So there was that, but yeah, we'll skip that because you weren't doing that with your grandmother.
Look, Granny, I get you a pager. Merry Christmas. What are we going to do with this? But yeah, you move up to the cell phones. Mm-hmm. Originally, they were car phones.
Yes.
You had that little squiggly pig tail antenna on the back of your car, and you had this big bulky, the Zach Morris phone, so to speak, in your car. But then they moved out of your car that you can actually walk around, and it was what, $20 a minute at the time. When
it was definitely for more of the can afford it upper class.
Like, oh, look at me, I'm showing
Even
off.
in the ones in the cars were more like your Cadillacs, your Mercedes, your higher end cars would have them.
And that brought more people together because you don't have to go to a payphone or a house. You can be stuck somewhere and you can call for help. Say, hey, I need some help. My flat tire, or I have a flat tire. But with cell phones and the home phones have been around for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
But this brought more freedom to people. Where
flexibility.
Flexibility. But instead of having to say we'll go to Joe Schmo's house on Thanksgiving. Now let's say, we can put one family house. We can add another one we can do on Thanksgiving Day. So we can hit two families. We can do mom's side of family, or we can do dad's side of family.
Yep.
Or you got break it out into two. It's all
the husband side and the wife side.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah.
So now you got Thanksgiving where two locations, and you're stuffing yourself even more. So that's kind of brought in a new paradigm shift into how we communicate with our family.
Yes.
Now let's go ahead and jump a few more decades. Not decades, wow. A couple more years.
Well, things start expediting at that point. Technology really starts taking off.
Downhill, text messaging. Now you don't even have to talk to the person.
The cell phone technology starts getting smarter, and now you're able to not only just call and limit it with just a dial pad. Now you're getting into the smartphones. So now
let me stop you, because now you had to do T9 texting.
Well, that's true.
You had
tap
your
3 times
pad.
and
you had press A 3 times, or press 1 to get something. I even forget what T90 is. It's been so long.
Yeah, I was never that good even back then.
It took me about 20 minutes to say what's up, or some 2 or 3 4-word sentence.
Yes, unlike people like my wife, who could, not even looking, just rattle off a sentence like it was nothing.
Write a book?
Yeah.
A full book on T9 by itself.
I still don't know how she was able to do that.
Can she still do it now?
Probably not. She could
like
get
riding
back,
a bicycle, though.
Yeah, she'd get back into it, but if you were to hand it to her right now and ask her, she'd probably take her a little bit. And then from there, they started coming out with the Sidekick.
Oh yeah, I remember those.
The keyboard phones, the Blackberries.
Blackberries. With BlackBerry, you had a introduction of BlackBerry Messenger.
Yep.
Now that was like a big thing back in the day. Because before, you didn't really have anything on the mobile side for messaging, but I would take it back, because then you had on the computer side with online services like AOL.
Yes, good old AOL.
AOL Instant Messenger.
Another pioneer.
And Microsoft, probably like a couple years later, after AOL came out, they tried.
Well, you had AOL, you had Yahoo.
Oh yeah, Yahoo, yeah.
And then you had Hotmail that came out with their instant messenger. And then there were some other ones that were not as well adopted as like the big three.
Well, yeah, there's more like the small fish. I mean, you can't really. You gave your AOL Instant Messenger to your friends. Hey, contact me on whatever at AOL. I forget how their handle names were.
It was your email address, I believe.
Was it your email address?
Boy, man, when you're talking, it is trying to remember all this crap. I'm pretty sure it was your email address, but they didn't have to put in like the @.
Yeah, you didn't have to put the full. You just put your handle.
Correct.
So it's the front end of the email address. So this kind of opened up for grandma to get in touch with her kids and her grandkids with the texting. Because even to a grandma with T90, and then that's been another year, so you might as well send a letter.
Yeah.
But it was more of getting more and more people together, or contacting each other better.
it was getting easier to be able to reach out to people.
Yeah.
Your older generation still may not have adopted it
They would flat out refuse.
as well as they probably could have, but
they were still using rotary phones.
Yeah, that is true.
1, 2,
Used to have one of those.
Yeah, I did too.
But yeah, so they didn't necessarily adopt it, but for the younger generations, we definitely adopted it, and it made it so we were the ones that were, hey, heads up.
Yeah, come over 5 minutes. You're gonna be there. Oh no, the turkey's not in the oven yet. Uncle Phil's not even dressed. He's still sleeping in the armchair with his underwear.
Always Uncle Phil. So it definitely made a difference there. But I think nowadays we're starting to see, just because it's so ingrained in people, because we've grown up with that, and now we're becoming that older generation.
Yeah, now we're becoming the old. But what it brought this up, along with everything else that we're talking about, is that on December 15th of 2017, AOL Instant Messenger is going to be shut down.
Yeah, unfortunately.
The end of 20 years.
I mean, I get it. No one hardly uses it anymore. There are some adopters still.
Yeah, it's also like the people that still pay for AOL.
Yeah, yeah.
To get online.
Well, and to be fair, there are some locations where that's their only choice. They still only have dial-up or satellite, so that's their what they use for internet. There's still a large that use it, but doesn't mean that there's a large population using it for Messenger. Not with cell phones.
It's just nostalgia.
Yeah. So it's
you troll the internet. Oh look, AOL Instant Messenger. Never download it. Oh yeah, it's still as bad as I remember.
I still remember my AIM handle, but I couldn't log into it if I tried.
I can't remember mine. It's something
something with maybe some numbers.
Yeah, because you can never get it with just the name. You have to add the number or your state. Or something Florida 42. Or you can be like cool. You can be like acid burn 78.
Yes, hackers.
Yes,
hack the planet. But yeah, so the technology has definitely come up since then, and going from your messenger, then your messaging programs have moved to the cell phones as cell phones have gotten smarter, which you've also got your text messages, but then you have your actual standard messaging apps. AIM was on your phone for the longest time.
Yeah, because that was because with your text messaging, you're paying by how many texts you're going or
Correct.
using. So like 100 texts was what, 10 or no, even probably like $20 a month on top of your
cell phone minutes and your actual
so you're
bill
looking
and all
at
that.
$200-300 a month if you're a big spender.
Correct. Jeez.
Now it's just, hey, we're throwing text messaging in for free.
Yeah, it's so little bandwidth. Your
minutes, yeah, here you go. Here's a bucket of whatever.
But nowadays, it's starting to move into a little more advanced, and the main topic of this subject, if you will, of the actual video aspect of it.
Right, with actually seeing, because it was a long time ago. I don't know if you remember, McDonald's had, I think it was AT&T. They were trying to do video calling. It was just back in the late 80s, early 90s.
I don't remember that at all.
It was like the future is now. You can call up. Here's go to your McDonald's or whatever it was and click a number or random number, and some guy or girl will pop up and you can talk with them over the really bad resolution when the screen was maybe only like 2-3 inches across. But that was, I want to say that was the beginning of video conference calling for your phone.
I actually didn't know that.
Yeah, it was a big thing. It's I have to look it up. I think it was McDonald's. It was because they had to have AT&T had to have another big corporate sponsor because it was expensive.
Oh, I bet.
All that bandwidth and just having to do a 5-minute call. Yeah, they were hurting. It lasted maybe not even a year, I don't think.
That wouldn't surprise me.
But yeah, it is going in with FaceTime. Mm-hmm. All these other video calling, they're actually good now.
Yes, the quality's there, the technology's there, the bandwidth is there, and there's enough of the devices out there in the world that it makes it actually useful.
Yeah, it's pretty much everyone in the world has a cell phone now. I mean, a baby will come out and have a cell phone in its hand.
I almost wonder, and it may not be this way, but it wouldn't surprise me if that's where phone calling starts to go. Whereas, like how we were just talking about at first, text messages were per message, were expensive, and now it's just kind of thrown in there.
Well,
it's nothing.
Nowadays, we don't even call each other. It's either texting or video calls.
Correct. Well, that's what I'm wondering, if now the thought of just voice calling someone is going to be like, wow, what's the point? You can't even see what they're, you can't talk to them, you can't interact with them.
Texting me.
How do you know it's even them? Like that kind of concept. So I'm wondering if it's going to be the standard will be video calling.
I want to say probably there's a great yes on that. Because nowadays, Amazon with their Echo, was it a Show? It's a new product with the Amazon Echo.
Yes.
It's a video screen. You can do video calling with each other. And you can do drop-in, which is kind of dangerous because they call up. It starts out a fogged screen. You can't really tell, but you can see shapes behind moving.
I'm good.
And then it clears out after like a few seconds, and you hope you're just under frame if you're naked. Or scrambling around, put his shirt on, holding it up.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where it's now in a Back to the Future movie with Back to the Future 2. You got your video wall.
The video wall. Yep.
And it's like, you're fine. No!
I love that they still had faxing back then.
Yeah, it's faxing. It's with 20-something. You got Jaws 84 or 34, whatever it was.
Yeah. But so I can definitely see the video calling becoming the standard of communication remotely. But it definitely, with holidays in mind, it makes a huge difference. We've been using it with our daughter to be able to video chat. My wife's, I guess my father-in-law would be the easier way of putting it. It lives in Chicago, in somewhere up in the Illinois.
The Great Lakes.
Yes. And we use it so that way he can see his granddaughter and can talk with her, and she's also got friends that live in Washington State, and we use the same thing so they can video chat and see, and it works out great when you have kids. It really makes a big difference.
Not only because the kids are actually now well adjusted to this new thing, they think of second nature, and they say, okay, let's call it grandma.
Correct.
Or I want to see grandma.
It was actually something that my mom was actually talking about yesterday, funny enough, was how much she is actually enjoying it and getting use out of it. And again, this is an older generation, my mother, so a different generation, but for her to on her own kind of take it in and adopt it and run with it just goes to show how things have gotten so much easier to use and to deal with.
It's not as complicated as it was prior. Like, it's you basically pick up the device or look at the device, hit a button, and you're going.
Yeah, it's just like a regular phone call, which makes it really easy.
Well, it's even easier than a phone call because you don't even have to put in a set number of numbers. You just look at like.
Since when's the last time you put in a set of numbers?
Yeah. When I have to call somebody that I don't have the contact for, I'm looking online. I have to call the number.
Oh, okay.
I can't look at the contacts. You can't look for their picture and hit their face, and instantly you're connected.
But you could still do that with anything. You just pull them up on Google as long as it's got the number.
If I do it through my phone, but
yeah, okay.
I'm trying to be sneaky,
But it's definitely it's come a long way, and she likes it because it's not even something that you have to be extremely remote. She lives in the same neighborhood as my brother and his kids, and she's able to use it to talk to them, at bedtime, to say goodnight and stuff like that. And that way she's not having to come over, disrupt the family. Yeah,
because that's the thing, especially for putting the kids in bed. That is an ordeal in and of itself. And all of a sudden you have grandma come over, and all of a sudden, everything's breaking, and we gotta go play. And then 2 hours later, it's...
So this makes it a nice, easy, still be able to interact, to see each other, have that contact, but not disrupt everything that's going on and change the whole schedule and routine and all that. So it's definitely made a big, big difference. And there's enough variety I feel there's enough variety. I'm sure there's probably still more being developed, but there's enough variety of these apps that's out there for people to use, so it doesn't really matter what kind of phone.
Yeah, because you don't have to be logged into an Android phone or an iPhone, the Apple ecosystem, or any kind of ecosystem that you're logged in, that you have to have, okay, grandmother, you have to use this particular app to contact us. Correct. If you don't, well, you can't.
Yeah, if my brother, he doesn't, but let's say he had an iPhone, and then I had Android, well, now grandma's got to figure out what device she's going to do, which thankfully they're starting to be cooperative with each other.
Well, it's also another thing with Google, because you had Google Hangouts, which is great because it combined both your text and your video calling.
And it worked on phone and computer.
Group for both of them.
Yeah.
But then they came out, was it 2 years ago, I want to say, on the Google I.O., about 2015 or 2016, I want to say. They came out with Allo and Duo. They separated the texting and the video aspect of Google Hangouts, so to speak. But still kept Google Hangouts there. So now you had 3 services. They
may have done it just for the size, to free up space on like the phones, maybe.
It wasn't really that. It's basically my thinking was, why reinvent the wheel again when you can fix what you have now? I don't think it was the sizing, because they're still going through their servers with the video aspect and then the group and all that.
Oh, I'm thinking physical size of the app on the phone, maybe.
Well, they can still,
because I know that I've got Duo, but I don't know if I have Allo or whatever. Yeah, I don't think I have that on my phone. So that might be a separate option that you can choose.
Well, if you have like the Google Pixel, then the Pixel 2 that came out.
That's fair.
It's because it's all Android, and you have a default messenger app as Allo and Duo.
Gotcha.
No, prior to that, with the Nexus, it was probably Hangouts.
Yes.
I want to say yes. I don't quote me on that, because I think it was a separate download. Anyways.
Yeah. I liked Hangouts. Hangouts was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too, because back then when they first came out with like Google Plus and Hangouts, it was like, oh wow, look at all this stuff you can do. You can learn like teaching. You go, you have a philosophy major, set up a Google Plus page, and you can actually pay them by the hour, and then learn something by psychology or whatever.
Or on the geeky side, you use it to play D&D. Yeah. You have all the people video chatting with each other, and you could do the screen share that has the icons.
I see it online. People still use Google Plus and Hangouts for that.
But a lot of that's starting to slowly change. Stuff like Roll20 and stuff like that.
It's all integrated.
They've integrated all those features into it.
Because they want to be the controlling aspect.
Of course.
They don't want to...
The one-stop shop.
Yeah. It's like Apple. They want you to use everything in their ecosystem.
That's why Apple is evil.
Well, so is Google.
Shh.
Do no evil? But any of these companies, I mean, they want you to use their products and services.
Of course.
And now with trying to get collaborating between each other, I see Google as more of this big player that wants to do that. Because, and then Microsoft with Skype that they purchased many years ago, they're integrating that where you can download Skype on anything.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, you can run Skype on an Xbox.
Oh yeah.
with the Xbox Connect and sit there and video wall.
Video conferencing right there.
You have your video wall.
So yeah, it's one of those things where it's all these companies are like, they're just blowing stuff out, trying to get you to use this stuff. Some of it is garbage when it first comes out.
Of course.
And it eventually dies on the vine and it moves on to the next thing. But it's just one of those things that where it's making it easier for all of us getting connected to one another.
Absolutely.
And like you said, within video calling is going to be the wave of the future instead of talking or texting.
I think so. I'm wondering if the next iteration of it is going to have something to do with VR. Well,
if you look, is the Puerto Rico thing with Facebook Spaces, that wasn't handled well whatsoever. is basically you put on your VR helmet, an Oculus or a Vive or anything like that, and you're actually there, but you see a cartoon avatar of the other person with their hand motions and facial animations as well as they talk. But in the wake of Hurricane Nate, no. Oh, I'm getting my hurricanes wrong. But the recent the hurricanes, all the devastation.
The last bad one that hit.
Yeah, Puerto Rico and everything.
Maria, I think?
Yeah, Maria.
I think that's...
Well,
anyways.
Irma and Maria, yeah.
Okay.
The sisters.
Oh.
But not to be light on their situation down in Puerto Rico, it's basically Facebook didn't really think it out too well, because all of a sudden you see a cartoon avatar of Mark Zuckerberg and I forget what's her name. I have to look it up later, but they botched it. Because it seemed like, hey, it's this all fun and jolly.
Like they were making light of what was going on.
Light. It was just that they didn't think how it would be portrayed.
Perceived, yeah.
Because you're looking at what they see, but you see both Mark Zuckerberg and his lady interviewer. And it's just kind of like, why are you doing this? That's like looking at the Smurfs in the middle of devastation Puerto Rico.
Okay.
It's like, it doesn't put two and two together. They could have handled it a lot better, and they got lambasted for it as well. Then they put up, of course, apologies and all that. But VR has a dangerous slope with that because with the Facebook debacle and all that. Mm-hmm. Have you read Ready Player One?
I have the book. I have yet to read it, though.
It's a very good book, and it's a movie coming out, next year?
Yeah.
But it takes your VR and takes it up way past 11 to like 50. The world is complete utter garbage.
Okay.
But you're only living in your VR world, and what you have portrayed yourself as your avatar in that particular world. So it's one of those things like, where is the stopping point? Because there's so many movies and books and stuff like that, like Johnny Mnemonic and
I was gonna say there's been a couple of. There's another movie,
Lawnmower Man.
I think it had Bruce Willis in it, where it was a physical like humanoid robot. Yes.
Yeah.
Where they went
people
through.
Can actually take over another person.
They were, they had like a robotic form that would go out and do the world, and they were just in this machine at home, basically. And there was
that's one of the things where it's like everything's leading up to that, the way we're going.
Well, that's. I mean, there's a whole that's a whole nother topic, but that's kind of Hollywood's taking the fears of us, of the human race and where things are going, and that whole technology taking over and all that stuff. It's the same reason that they say that's why certain genres of horror movies become popular when they do, because it depends on what's going on.
Slasher fix and
depends
all that,
what's going on in the world. The whole reason zombies were popular is because the idea of all these mindless humans.
It's still popular.
It's starting to fade. Starting to fade a little.
Not as bad as the crash of the sparkling vampire.
Aliens are what's starting to come up now. But the whole thing with zombies was that it was the mindless humans, just working in drones going with the crowd, like not the free
week.
Well, yeah, it's very much true. Yeah. And the whole thing with aliens is because of everything that's starting to go on now, that outside entity, like your North Koreas, being attacked from something that's out of your control, the whole coming and being visited. It's the same kind of aliens coming in and destroying everything that you've got.
You hold dear, yeah.
So that's kind of how things are shifting, and that's why those horror movies kind of grow. So it's the same kind of concept,
right? With
the whole robotics, it's where's technology taking us, and it's showing Hollywood does it in the sense of what movies are out there, and we adopt them because those are fears that we have that are kind of general, unspoken in a sense.
Yeah, it's your dystopian future.
Yes.
And it could be either bad or good or anything like that. It's just
even your tween movies, like what was the Divergent or whatever?
Oh yeah,
kind of hit on that a little bit.
Yeah, it is because it was almost like a direct copy of blanking on the name, Hunger Games.
Yes. Yeah.
Because it was putting you have your class system, you have your lawyers and stuff like that, and you have your agricultural, and then it goes from there. and it's all broken down where we're breaking ourselves down to a class system. But technology is pushing ourselves into that way.
Mm-hmm.
We're more relying like with video and moving it back into the topic. That's what we do. We go on little tangents. But yeah, with the video calling, it's a lot easier to get in touch with each other. Because like with your mom and everything, like Thanksgiving's coming up, and we still do it. We still pack in as many trips to each family's houses. This would be a lot easier because you have your video wall through your Xbox or your PlayStation, and you can sit there with your turkey in front of the TV with the picture-in-picture of the football game, or the other side with the Macy's Day Thanksgiving parade on the other picture-in-picture.
Well, it's kind of like they do in businesses with the video conferencing, where the way that it's set up, it looks like you're at one end of the conference table and they're at the other end of the conference table, even though you're just in a room with a camera and a TV. So yeah, the same kind of concept. You can use that. And I feel that the video adds more humanity back to the communication.
Because with texting, you can't get feeling or
tone.
Tone, yes.
Yes.
You can't get that from text.
Correct.
Even with voice, because we can sit there and be having a smirk or a frown while we're saying, "Oh yes, that's very good,"
or you pull the phone away.
Yeah, you do it.
We've all been there.
With video, it's a little bit harder.
Yeah,
you gotta get out of frame.
Oh, look at the squirrel! Hey, look at that! Yeah. So it's adding more humanity. But at the same time that it's adding more humanity, funny enough, I feel like it's also separating us still more. Because we now no longer have to. We're not forced to have that interaction in order to see someone.
And that's the big thing, because that's the whole part of the holiday seasons, is to get together with everybody. Yeah, you may not like certain members of your family, but you know what? Deal with it.
Every family has that.
It's 1 or 2 days of the year. You're not there all the time.
Exactly.
And it's one of those things where it's like you said, it separates us, all while being together.
Yeah, it's an odd dynamic, but it's something that I think that it's either going to change or it's just going to become the new norm.
I think it's going to be the new norm, because with this generation coming up and then the generation after them, it's because my daughter, she is on the phone always. She's watching YouTube. We talked about this in prior episodes. But the kids these days are more in tune with the fondle slaps. I go and take it from another person that coined that phrase online. It's your phones.
Okay.
Because we love just to play with it and just touch it, and we can't let go of it.
It's addictive.
Yeah.
Very much so. So on that note,
we're going to go ahead and move into our main topic today. Now, our main topic for today is the actual apps themselves.
What's out there, first impressions that we've gotten, that kind of stuff.
Now, one of the things is there's plenty of texting apps out there. We looked at stuff that has a video aspect to it.
Yes.
It does include texting, which is like a second thought nowadays.
Pretty much.
These are different. We'll do a top 6, so to speak.
Yeah, it's just
we're not like rated number 1 to 6. It's just basically we picked 6 apps that we thought were good, that everyone can use.
Yeah, what we're aware of, what's easily adoptable, what is something that people are actually using, not only with our generation, but even younger generations.
Now, the big one if you have an Apple iPhone or an iPad, is FaceTime.
Yes.
This is actually really good if you have in that Apple ecosystem, because it's baked into the operating system as it is.
It is a very good product, but again, it's locked you into that ecosystem, like you said. Right. Which I'm not much of a fan of.
See, I said in the prior episode, I think it was our pilot episode, I have a foot in both worlds. But FaceTime is actually good because you can call up your contact list, or even say, I'm going to probably set her off, hey Siri, call FaceTime. Yeah, and I just did. Nope.
Go away.
Go away, Siri. But you can do that, and you within a few moments you'll have that person on your phone or your iPad.
Yeah, which you can have the same thing on your Google phones.
Not through FaceTime.
Not through FaceTime, though. You got
yeah. Now, going to the Android side is Google Duo. It's like I mentioned earlier. It's a video aspect. It's like FaceTime, but for the Android side of things.
Well, and I wouldn't even necessarily say for the Android side, because you can also download it on iPhones.
Yeah.
So it'll allow for that cross-platform,
and that's good on Google.
Open use. Yes, it's very smart on Google. And thankfully, Apple would allow it to be.
Well, I don't think they could really technically disbar it, because we're going into different like programming, APIs and calling and all that.
Well,
sort
of course,
stuff,
but it's still something that has to be within their market. They have to approve, that aspect of it. It still has to function on their network, and they can be like,
and it does actually work pretty good.
Yeah, it's what I've heard actually. In some aspects, it's even better than FaceTime.
Yeah, because like you said, you don't even have to have an iPhone or an iPad. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think you can even use. Well, I don't think you can use it on your computer yet.
I'm not positive, actually. I've never actually looked into it.
Yeah, I have to look at that.
Because if I'm on my computer, I'm going to be using something like
and you
Skype.
have to have a webcam if you use it on your computer.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's a video thing. You got to...
What are you going to do? Look at a blank screen?
But if I'm on the computer, I'm going to be using something like Skype.
Okay, yeah, it's Skype. We'll go to Skype next.
Might as well.
Yeah. Skype has been around,
a while.
A while now. It started out as like a peer-to-peer where you basically... one person have it, and you can connect to several different other people to get to that person. Mm-hmm. That's my understanding of it. Microsoft bought it, and now they're integrating into every Microsoft Office product that they have.
Yes.
Like Office 365 online and stuff like that.
Well, and the big feature for Skype, if I remember correctly, was because you could use it as a phone system, voice over IP, and it was cheap for international.
Yeah, I think it's actually the first one, because Vonage and all these other ones that came on after it is you can call someone in India for pennies on a dollar, so to speak.
Correct. Yeah, it was very cost efficient for what it was.
And I think you can even do video calling back then as well. I might be mistaken on that.
Yeah, not really sure, to be honest with you, but it was definitely that's where it really shined.
Because mostly, it was more of like a voice and texting.
Correct. Yeah, it was very much more so on the personal side with some really good uses for the business side, which is why Microsoft purchased it and rolled it into their product so they could have a phone system.
Right. So Skype is actually really good because a lot of people don't like it. Mm-hmm. It's
just with everything else.
It's an acquired taste. With like FaceTime, you got your detractors and you people who love it. Now, WhatsApp is pretty much a relatively new kid on the block.
Yeah, that I haven't had any experience with.
Well, WhatsApp it's like the rest. You got your texting and your voice, and then you also have your video calling to other WhatsApp users.
So they have to have the app?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the thing with all of these is you have to have the app. Mm-hmm. Now, WhatsApp is actually was bought by Facebook.
Really?
Yes. I had to double check. I blinked there for a second. Yes, WhatsApp is part of Facebook.
Okay, so what are they going to do with Facebook Messenger then?
It's the same thing.
Because you can video call with Facebook Messenger.
Well, it's same different people that love WhatsApp but hate Facebook.
Okay.
But they're bought by the same person, but that's a whole other topic. It's like KFC and Pepsi.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
But we'll go down a rabbit hole another day. But yeah, WhatsApp has the face-to-face calling, like FaceTime and Skype and all that.
Okay.
It's just a different thing that you have a lot of your friends are if they're WhatsApp users, you're going to be part of that particular ecosystem.
Now, is that the one that you were telling me that's the big internationally?
Yes, they are part of. Well, a lot of it is big in like England and overseas.
Okay.
See, there's a lot of people that don't like either Google or Apple, and they use these other services because they don't know it or it's not available in their country.
Okay.
So WhatsApp is part of a big movement. It's like FaceTime over there.
Okay.
Or Facebook Messenger is here. Now, another thing, like I said, is Facebook Messenger.
Mm-hmm. That's the one that I use.
Okay, yeah. A lot of people use it.
Mm-hmm.
There's how many billions of people, active daily users on Facebook, are in the billions.
Absolutely, and that's kind of one of the reasons that I have adopted it.
Yeah, because you can contact everyone of your family that's on Facebook.
Absolutely, and
except your kids, because they run away from it.
Well, and on top of the fact of the family togetherness and all that stuff, there's also the more simple side of it. And like, I'll go to the grocery store and the wife's asked me to pick up something, and I'll go there and there's 20 different versions of that something. FaceTime here.
Well, you don't pick a random one.
Yeah, I'll do the video chat. I'll do the video chat with her and go, which one of these is it you actually want, and go from there. And I get the right thing. It makes it a lot easier. Or I can go, hey, see, I promise you, there's no green items here. Publix Deli only has meat. They have no vegetables. It's
so Facebook, I want to say, is probably the biggest. Let's say in the U.S. and Canada.
Okay.
They are probably the biggest. The Facebook Messenger is the biggest video calling service
for third party.
For third party underneath FaceTime.
Yeah, because you got your ones that are in your ecosystem, the Facebook and Google. This is your third party.
They start to phone up and say, "Oh, okay, click FaceTime, okay," or Duo, and then that's it. With these, you have to actually go down to the App Store, download it actively.
Gotcha.
They're not there straight from the start. Now, another thing that the kids are using is Snapchat. Yes,
which doesn't necessarily give you that face-to-face video conferencing, but they almost use it for that. It's kind of like it's a face-to-face text messaging, I guess would be the best way of putting it.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it, because it's not real time.
Correct. It's you record it, you send it, and then you wait for their response.
Within probably a second, all of a sudden, little Timmy's got a response to little Beth saying something.
Which is interesting, because considering how Snapchat got its start, more on the adult side, I guess you could say, the whole deleting of messages, and all that. That it's funny that it's become more family friendly and more fun, and it's more because of their filters.
Yeah, the filters are huge sellers.
That seems to be what's keeping them alive.
I mean, you can have like the puppy dog ears and the wagging tongue filter on your face, and kids love it.
Of course they do.
It's one of the simple stupid things that you can do, or you can buy a 99-cent filter or whatever, or stickers.
It's really, really sad for me to say this, but one of my favorite things to watch on YouTube is the kids getting scared by Snapchat filters.
Oh, I think I see the little baby and all of a sudden a witch, and it's like,
Those crack me up.
Or you can be throwing up rainbows. Now, these 6 apps, barring FaceTime and Duo, if I want to put a disclosure on Duo, because if you have a phone from Google, you'll get Duo. But if you get any kind of other Android device, like a Samsung Galaxy or one from HTC or LG, it's not going to have it. You have to download it.
No, I think it's starting to come on them now.
Really?
Yeah, my S8 has it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's starting to come out new, basically.
I am mistaken. But let's put Duo in the same league as FaceTime, because it's baked into the OS. It's there. As soon as you take the phone out of the box and you slowly peel up that plastic that everyone loves to do. Or if you get mad at the sales guy doing it for you, you're like, no, I want to do that. I would say those are baked into the OS. All the other ones we talked about, you have to go to your app store to download. And
have a separate account and all that good stuff.
Because with Facebook Messenger, of course, you have to have a Facebook account. WhatsApp, you have... I want to say it is tied to your phone number on your phone. Same thing for Duo.
Duo's tied to the phone number, yes.
Snapchat and Skype, you have to have a Skype account, of course.
You have to have a Microsoft account, whether it's Outlook, Hotmail, 365, I think.
Yeah, it's you have to have something that's tied to Microsoft, or you create a Skype account.
Yes.
Either or. Now, going into something unknown territory, but for both of us, so to speak, overseas, these apps are probably bottom of the barrel. They don't even get talked about. But the big ones I've heard or I know about are Kick and Line. They're the same things that we've been talking about. They have your text, your calling, voice calling, and video calling. Mm-hmm. But it's big, like in Japan and China and India and anywhere else. I mean, it's huge because over there are apps you can actually pay other people. You can pay for your stuff instead of like tap to pay. You can all through your app, through Line and stuff like that.
Okay.
So it's a completely different ecosystem shift over there than what we have over here.
So kind of like Messenger then, because you can pay through Messenger, actually, I believe.
Yeah. Before show, I was just looking because you can do the paying through Facebook Messenger.
Yeah.
And I think that now this just did with PayPal. You can use your PayPal accounts through Facebook Messenger. I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
We're not the all-knowing like the internet.
Speak for yourself.
All right, fair enough.
So yeah, it's just one of these. All these apps are pretty much put it up to the user what they are comfortable with, and what their friends and family are using.
Well, yeah, and that's going to be your biggest thing, because if you're the lone wolf using, Facebook Messenger, but no one else has it, you're not going to have. You're not going to be communicating.
I personally, I downloaded Telegram, which is another one. I put in Signal, and I just started a Keybase, for the secured chatting.
Okay.
That's all PGP, it's all like encrypted. Hey, I was just trying it.
Who you be messaging?
Yeah, who am I going to message? I look at my contacts and I get sad because there's no one there. I got no friends.
Aw.
No, it's one of the things is that you got all these choices. And with these 6 that we picked out, they're the big ones for the U.S. and Canada and Mexico and England. Partly.
There's a good chance with any one of these, if you have the phone that can run it, you'll find people on there.
Yeah, and you can convince your grandparents, your parents to get onto these services. Hey, instead of texting you through my phone, let's use this app. And it's a lot better. It'll be easier for you guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's the big thing that we're trying to come across, is that it's easier for the older people, the elderly.
So I guess to end things out here, we would like to hear from you if there's any apps that we may have missed or something that's out there that we're not aware of that you think either our listeners or us would be interested in experimenting with.
Yeah, let's do like a big Geek 2.0 podcast experiment with an app. See how many people we can get on it.
That could be dangerous.
Well,
we'll get all 6.
Actually, we're big in Japan.
Hey, all right.
And download numbers are really good in Japan.
That's awesome.
I look at it every week.
We love you, Japan.
Konnichiwa.
Funny enough, I'm actually trying to learn Japanese right now.
So yeah, if you got any suggestions, creative or constructive criticism, because I kept getting that wrong for the past couple episodes until I found out, it's constructive criticism.
You don't want them to be creative with their criticisms?
Well, they can be. They can be that too.
Okay.
But let us know. We'll get all the details at the end of the show here. So I'm Josh.
And I'm Joe.
And thank you for listening to Geek 2.0 podcast. Thanks for listening to this episode of Geek 2.0 podcast. Be sure to check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/Geek 2.0 podcast. Also, be sure to follow us on Twitter at Geek 20 podcast. Don't forget to visit our website at geek20podcast.com for older episodes, news, and much more. And make sure to subscribe to our podcast through your favorite podcatcher player of choice.
The Geek 2.0 podcast is part of the Collective Network.